Why do you think your ability to work well with others plays such a pivotal role in building your ambition? At first glance, it might sound contradictory. After all, ambition is about personal goals, right? But here's the truth. A truly successful life isn't lived in isolation. It involves the people around you, family, associates, children, parents, employees, friends, mentors. Working with others, living with others, and spending time with others brings with it a great responsibility, the responsibility of building and nurturing those relationships. Think about those in leadership roles. Take bosses, for example. How many bosses do you know who would be absolutely lost without their secretary or assistant? More than a few, I bet. They're a team. One is the visionary, the other is the organizer. One steers the ship, the other keeps it fueled. Without each other, they would both struggle. It's a classic case of synergy. Both bring something valuable to the table, and without that balance, neither one would thrive. But before you can genuinely contribute to a relationship, you've got to take responsibility for yourself. You've got to become the best version of yourself so you can offer the best of yourself. Why? Because if you're going to bring value to others, it starts with building value in yourself. And that's where ambition and relationships intersect. When you work on your own growth, you're then able to bring a stronger version of yourself into every connection. This is the secret to building mutually beneficial relationships that support your success. Let's look at some ways to cultivate relationships that count. Establish valuable contacts, foster solid working relationships with colleagues, nurture connections with vendors, stay in touch with clients past, present, and future. It's all about relationships. And remember, at the core, we're all people, individuals with needs, ambitions, challenges, and strengths. So let's start with one simple principle: kindness. How kind should you be? As kind as you possibly can be. Who should you extend that kindness to? Everyone you meet, from the cab driver to the hotel clerk, from the receptionist to the waitress, from people at work to people at home. Show kindness to everyone. Here's the beauty of it. A single kind word can transform a person's day. You might encounter someone who's struggling, who's carrying burdens you'll never see or understand. A simple hello, how's it going? Or a moment spent listening can make someone feel noticed, valued, and respected. And that small gesture of kindness might be all it takes to lift someone's spirits or give them a moment of peace in a hectic day. So be generous with your kindness. It'll come back to you. People will remember the way you made them feel. Imagine walking into a crowded restaurant where you greeted the waiter with a smile and genuine respect on your last visit. Guess what? The next time you come in, he'll remember you. And that kindness will pay off in the form of better service, a better experience. When you extend kindness, it doesn't disappear. It becomes an investment in people. And that investment will pay you back in ways you may never expect. Sometimes 2 times over, sometimes 5 times, 10 times, 100 times. Kindness, it's essential in every area of your life. Kindness isn't just a nice gesture. It's the foundation for building strong, lasting relationships. You see, every good connection, whether in business or personal life, begins with kindness. But kindness alone isn't enough. It's only the first step. There's another quality that's equally important and perhaps even more rare: sensitivity. Sensitivity is about being open to the experiences of others, being touched by what they're going through, truly feeling the challenges they face. It's about letting yourself see the world from their perspective. Sensitivity means you don't just rush through conversations or gloss over issues. No, you take the time to listen, to understand, to dig deeper if needed. You become someone who cares enough to ask and to listen, not just on the surface, but with genuine interest in what's really happening in someone else's heart. Let's say you sense a problem. Now, here's where sensitivity truly shines. Don't just ask one question and assume you've got the answer. Most people aren't going to lay it all out for you right off the bat. It takes more than one question, often 2 or 3, maybe even 4, before you start uncovering what's really going on. Think about this. People aren't always willing to share what's bothering them until 2 important criteria are met. First, they have to know they're talking to someone they can trust. Trust is the bridge that allows people to open up. And second, they need to feel that they're talking to someone who genuinely cares. These are the pillars of sensitivity: trust and care. When these 2 elements are present, people feel safe enough to say, this is what's really going on. So here's what you do. Ask questions that go deeper, questions that show you're invested in understanding. Not only will this build trust, but it will create a foundation for authentic communication between you and the people you work with or care for. And remember, there's a difference between impressing and expressing. If you're only looking to impress people, you'll put up walls of gulf between you and them. But when you focus on expressing from the heart, on being real, that's when you build a bridge. And those bridges, they lead to relationships that last. Next, let's talk about identification. If you're going to build a relationship, you've got to connect in a way that resonates. When you share your ideas, your philosophies, your stories, you want the other person to feel, yes, I know exactly what you mean. That's the power of identification, because ultimately what people want isn't to be impressed by someone's accomplishments. They want to feel understood, to know that someone else gets it. When you meet someone new, the first step is getting acquainted, finding common ground. Don't just jump in with where you want to take the conversation. Start with where they are. Find something you both share, something familiar to them. Maybe it's a common experience, a shared goal, or even a mutual challenge. Start with what's familiar, and then you'll be able to guide them towards new ideas, new perspectives. Now, if you're trying to connect with someone who's hurting deep down, someone who's been stricken in the heart, and you've had a similar experience, you're in a unique position, you can speak from a place of true understanding. When you've felt that same kind of pain, your words carry weight, they have substance, they have depth. And if you start there, if you begin by showing that you truly get where they're coming from, that's when the bridge begins to form. You establish a connection based on shared experience. That's what we call identification. And once you have identification, you can start to build rapport. Building rapport is the foundation of all meaningful relationships. It's the starting point for trust, for communication, for growth. When you set out to build rapport, or maybe to deepen an existing one, you need one essential ingredient: effective communication skills. Without these skills, even the best intentions can fall flat. Good communication allows you to work better with others to help them reach their goals, and at the same time, it helps you get closer to achieving yours. Now, why do communication skills matter so much? Because life, every part of it, is lived in connection with others. To get along well, to work well, to live well with others, you need to be able to communicate in a way that resonates. Communication is the bridge that links your experiences, your knowledge, your insights to someone else's understanding. Here's how to master it. Number one, have something worth saying. If you want to reach people, make sure you're speaking from a place of interest and fascination. Bring sensitivity, bring genuine curiosity, and bring knowledge. When you're fascinated by what you're talking about, that energy transfers. People can feel it. And when you've gathered some wisdom or life experience that can help others, people are naturally drawn to listen. So bring your best ideas to the table, your real insights. Show that you've put thought and care into what you're sharing. Number two, once you have something valuable to say, learn to say it well. Now, this is where skill comes in. It's not just enough to have a treasure trove of ideas, insights, or experiences. You need a way to deliver that message so it lands, so it reaches the heart and mind of the listener. Think of your communication as a delivery system. You're carrying knowledge, awareness, understanding, maybe even life-changing experience. But if you can't convey it effectively, that message may never reach its destination. It's like having a gift, but no wrapping, no way to present it in a way that catches the eye and makes an impact. To communicate effectively, practice translating your thoughts in a way that makes sense to others, in a way that's relatable, that feels like it's been crafted just for them. It's one thing to understand something yourself. It's another to make that understanding crystal clear to someone else. So work on having substance and style. Bring the content and the delivery. When you're able to communicate with depth and clarity, you'll find that people are drawn to your message. They'll feel connected, understood, inspired. And that's how real rapport is built, not just through words, but through words that matter, delivered in a way that reaches people's hearts. Now, here are some keys to saying it well. Number one, sincerity. The best communication happens when there's sincerity on both sides. When one person sincerely wants to listen and understand, and the other person sincerely wants to share, that's when true connection is made. There's no substitute for genuine intent. People can sense it. Sincerity is like a magnet. It draws people in. If you're genuinely interested, people feel it. And if you're genuinely sharing, they'll trust what you have to say. Number two, in saying it well, is repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. To say it well, you have to practice, practice again. Don't be afraid to start small and simple. In the beginning, you may not have all the experience, and that's exactly why repetition is so valuable. It's like polishing a diamond. The more you do it, the clearer it shines. Think of it in terms of sales. If you're in sales and you practice your pitch enough, sooner or later, someone's going to say, "What are you selling?" And guess what? You're bound to make a sale. Every time you repeat, you get better at explaining it, listening, at answering questions, at closing the deal. Each attempt builds your skills. And here's what's important. The sale itself will earn you an income, but the skills you develop will build your fortune. Practice doesn't just make you money. It sharpens the tools that allow you to make even more money. Now, don't overlook the value of a no. The person who says, no, I don't think so, has just given you the chance to practice, and that's priceless, especially when you're starting out. Those early no's are an investment in your skills. In fact, when you're just getting started, you might want to pay someone to listen to you while you stumble through your pitch. Be grateful for every no, because it's building the skills that will turn labor into value. If you can sell, you can make a living. If you can skillfully sell, you can build a fortune. If you just talk, you can hold things together. But if you can skillfully communicate, you can inspire dreams and build the future. The difference lies in skill. So keep practicing to develop the skill of saying it well. Start with sincerity, add repetition, and next, let's talk about brevity. Brevity is another part of saying it well. Sometimes you don't need a lot of words. You just need the right ones. Here's what I've learned. The more you know, the more concise you can be. When you understand something deeply, you can communicate it simply. Brevity is power. It makes your words sharper and more impactful. And when you've built a reputation, sometimes your presence alone does half the talking. People already know who you are, what you stand for. So when you arrive, there's no need for long speeches. You've already made an impression. Now, here's another essential part of saying it well. Style. Style is the way you deliver your message. Be a student of style, study different styles, see what resonates. But here's the key. Develop your own. Don't just mimic someone else. Let them influence you, but create something unique to you. Authenticity matters, and your style should reflect who you are. It should feel natural, not forced. Here's another tip for saying it well. Vocabulary. Vocabulary is your toolbox. If you want to communicate clearly, if you want to convey exactly what you mean, you need the right words. The words you choose can bring life to your message, can make an idea vivid and memorable. If you're lacking vocabulary, you're limited in how you can describe a solution, a vision, or a problem. Words are the tools of communication. Without them, your ideas are trapped. With them, you're able to build bridges of understanding. Next, here are some powerful ways to tune in, to connect, to truly understand those around you. First, you've got to read what you see. Communication isn't just about words. It's about seeing the full picture. Take a look at the person in front of you, really look. If you're talking to a child, for example, check their face, see if they look puzzled or excited, if they're nodding along or staring off into space. Body language is a language all its own, and it can reveal a lot about whether or not you're getting through. Observe their posture, their hands, their eyes. If a person has their arms crossed, legs crossed, chin tucked down, and they're frowning, you've got some work ahead. They're closed off. This person won't be easy to reach, so it's time to get creative and find a way to break through that wall. Or take the lady who's up and out from behind her desk. If she's moving, that's your signal to speed things up. You don't have much time. Get to the heart of your message quick. Read the cues right there in front of you. They'll guide you, and if you pay attention, they'll help you adjust on the fly. So number one is simple but essential. Read what you see. Here's the second way to read. Read what you hear. You can't be a great communicator without being a great listener. It's that simple. To truly connect with others, you've got to listen to them, to hear not just what they say, but how they say it. Every sound, every word, every pause gives you information. Listening well isn't about waiting for your turn to talk. It's about picking up on what's beneath the words. Sometimes you'll hear something in the tone that tells you to dial it down, or maybe go stronger, or maybe try a different story or example. Let me give you a tip here. When you're talking to someone, don't just listen to respond. Listen to learn. To be a good parent, a good leader, a good friend, you've got to master this skill. Listen for that feedback. It's telling you everything you need to know. If you're sensitive to the words someone else is using, you can pivot your approach, maybe soften your tone or explain it in a new way. And here's the real value: when people feel truly heard, they're more open to what you have to say. So the second key to communication is read what you hear. Now here's the third and final piece. Read how you feel. Emotional signals are like an inner compass. They guide us if we're tuned in. Now I'll tell you, women often have a natural advantage here, an intuition about reading emotions. But men don't think this is out of reach. We can learn to read emotions too, and it can be a game changer. You've got to pay attention to your own feelings in a conversation and tune into the emotional energy of the room. If you feel a wall going up between you and the other person, don't ignore it, adapt. Maybe take a different approach, ask a question, or express genuine empathy to open things back up. Learn to pick up those emotional signals, your own and others. This sensitivity will help you adjust your message and connect on a deeper level. When you're in tune with feelings, you're not just communicating. you're connecting. Communication is more than just having something to say. It's about saying it well. And saying it well means reading your audience through what you see, what you hear, and how you feel. Learn to read these signals and you'll become a powerful communicator, someone who doesn't just talk but genuinely connects. And that connection, it's the foundation of all influence, understanding, and success.